Hello, I'm Samuel Warrick, a 65-year-old widower from Naples, Florida, who spent decades building a quiet life for my family, only to watch it crumble from within. While I fought for my life in heart surgery, my own daughter sold our cherished beach house, the one my late wife Leora and I poured our souls into, thinking I'd never know. But worse than the betrayal was the years of hidden greed, siphoning my hidden real estate empire, forging papers in my name, and mocking me as a washed-up retiree. How does a father reclaim his legacy from the child he raised? Stick around to find out. The sterile beep of monitors greeted me as I woke in Mount Sinai Hospital, Naples, Florida. My chest ached, a dull reminder of the triple bypass surgery I'd endured on January 15, 2025. At 65, I'd faced my mortality, but the real pain wasn't in my ribs, it was the gnawing sense of something wrong. The nurse, a kind woman with a clipboard, checked my chart and mentioned Medicare stats about heart attacks in folks over 60. "You're lucky," she said, her smile practiced but warm. I nodded, but my mind drifted to Cressida, my daughter. Her last visit felt more like a duty than love, her eyes darting to her phone mid-conversation. I'd spent decades building a life for her, hiding my mogul status at Warrick Coastal Properties to teach her grit. As Warren Buffett once said, "The best inheritance is teaching your kids to fish." I thought I'd done that. Maybe I was wrong. Discharged that afternoon, I climbed into my old pickup truck, the leather seat creaking under me. The drive home was quiet, the Naples streets oddly still for a winter day. Palms swayed gently, and the Gulf's salty breeze slipped through the cracked window. My beach house waited, a place Leora and I built in '87, every nail a memory of our life together. She'd passed 3 years ago in our living room, her hand in mine. The thought tightened my throat as I pulled into the driveway. Then I saw it, a sold sign staked in the front yard, bold letters from Warrick Coastal Properties, my own company. My heart thudded, not from surgery but shock. I'd never listed the house. Stepping out, I noticed the garage door ajar. Inside, it was empty. No vintage cars, no trace of the $900,000 collection Leora loved for our Sunday drives along the Gulf Coast. My hands shook as I entered the house, the familiar creak of the floorboards now foreign. On the kitchen counter sat a manila folder, papers spilling out. Power of attorney documents, my signature scrawled across them, dated during my surgery. The handwriting was close, but I'd signed enough contracts in 30 years to spot a fake. My medical records, locked in my safe, would prove I was out cold then. I flashed back to Cressida's hospital visit, her voice too smooth as she offered to handle everything. Now it felt calculated, her concern a mask. I searched the house, desperate for something untouched. Outside, by the trash bins, I found it. Leora's seascape painting, her brushstrokes capturing the Gulf's endless dance, tossed like garbage. The sight hit harder than the surgery scar. An old American proverb ran through my mind. Blood is thicker than water, but greed cuts deeper. My daughter had erased our legacy. I wanted to scream, to call her and demand answers, but I stopped. Rage wouldn't win this. The AARP had warned about this. 1 in 10 seniors exploited by family. I'd be no statistic. Sitting on the deck, waves crashing like my heartbeat, I let the memories flood in. Leora and I danced here under the stars, her laugh brighter than the moon. She died holding my hand, urging me to guide Cressida to earn her way, not coast on my 40-millimeter empire. I'd thought she saw me as strong, a father who built something from nothing. She saw weakness instead. My fingers brushed her letter, tucked in my safe, her words an anchor. "Make her prove her worth, Samuel." It steadied me. No yelling, no tears. As my old friend Alaric always said, "Revenge is a dish best served with evidence." I'd watch, wait, and gather what I needed. FDR's words echoed, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." I'd been quiet too long, but my strength wasn't gone. I dialed Alaric, keeping my voice low, hinting at the storm brewing without spilling at all. The call ended, and my phone buzzed. A TikTok notification from Cressida. The video loaded, her face smirking in a mansion, boasting about her new empire. My grip tightened. She'd used my own company to sell our home, unaware I owned the strings she pulled. This was just the beginning of her unraveling. Cressida's TikTok video looped in my mind, her smug voice bragging about her new empire in a mansion bought with my stolen legacy. It was February 2025 and my body still ached from the heart surgery, but the drive to her so-called family dinner in Naples sharpened my senses. Benjamin Franklin's wisdom rang true. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. I'd raised her to forge her own path, but she'd twisted my lessons into betrayal. The Gulf's cool breeze slipped through my truck's window, doing little to ease the heat rising in my chest. Her mansion sat in a ritzy Naples enclave, all sleek glass and pristine lawns, a far cry from the cozy beach house Leora and I had built. As I pulled up, the opulence mocked my modesty. Cressida met me at the entrance, her greeting cold, no warmth in her eyes. "Glad you could come, Dad," she said, already turning to lead me inside, past marble floors to the kitchen's edge. Soren, her husband, stood in the distance, charming a group of slick investors, their talk of quick profits humming like a warning. The AARP had flagged this, kids strong-arming parents for wealth, a growing plague. I kept my expression steady, watching every move. She motioned me to a flimsy chair near the kitchen, the scent of seared steak wafting over, while she and Soren presided at a grand dining table. I was sidelined, like some hired help. Cressida raised her wineglass, crowing about her deal-making genius, her words sharp as she sneered. "Times have changed, Dad. Old ways don't work." She leaned on Elon Musk's mantra, "Work like hell," but it felt like a jab at my life's work. My phone vibrated. A new TikTok post. I angled it discreetly, watching her parade through her mansion, gloating about her rise from nothing. She'd spliced in a grainy shot of me, labeled Dad's Quiet Retirement, the mockery clear. Her guests snickered as she shared the video, their laughter a knife twisting deeper. My jaw clenched, but I recalled Florida's elder abuse stats, 92,000 cases in 2023, per the FBI. This wasn't just a family spat, it was theft, tied to those forged documents. Then I caught sight of her business card on a side table, its logo a near copy of Warrick Coastal Properties, my company. She'd tweaked it just enough to claim as her own, a bold theft of my life's foundation. I wanted to storm the table, expose her, but Martin Luther King Jr.'s words grounded me. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge. Silence was my weapon now. Soren's self-satisfied grin marked him as her accomplice, but I stayed focused. Leora's words echoed in my mind. True power is knowing when to act. I wouldn't unravel here. The dinner stretched on, their voices a haze of arrogance. I slipped out early, tossing a question to Cressida. "How'd you pull off that mansion deal?" Her smile faltered for a split second before she shrugged. "Just sharp business, Dad." At the door, she handed me a bag of scraps, her grin dripping with condescension. I noticed that stolen logo again, printed on her letterhead, a quiet taunt. Back at my beach house, the Gulf's rhythm steadied my pulse. I pulled up her TikTok again, zooming in on a frame, a glimpse of papers on her desk, their format mirroring my company's contracts. She thought she'd outsmarted me, but this game was far from over. I'd play it smarter, gathering every piece to bury her schemes. The faint glow of my desk lamp flickered as rain tapped the windows of my Naples beach house, the Gulf's restless waves echoing my unease. It was March 2025, and Cressida's smug TikTok, flaunting her stolen mansion, still burned in my mind. Her dinner had been a stage for her lies, and that altered logo on her card gnawed at me, a theft of my legacy. I pulled Leora's old journal from the drawer, its leather cover worn from years of love. Maya Angelou's words came to me. There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. I needed answers, not just about the present, but the roots of this betrayal. Cressida's teenage years flashed back, her demands for bigger allowances, her impatience with my work-hard talks. Had I missed the signs then? My phone rang, Alaric Dunham's name on the screen. My old friend, a battle-tested ally from real estate wars, always had my back. "Samuel, you okay?" he asked, his voice steady. We talked about loyalty, how American families sometimes fracture over money. The AARP had stats on it, greed tearing at bonds. I flipped open Leora's journal, the yellowed pages heavy with her neat handwriting. An entry from 2021 stopped my heart. Cressida asking about her inheritance while Leora battled cancer. The memory hit hard, but I kept reading, needing to understand. Leora's words painted a picture of Cressida's probing, her questions veiled as concern but sharp with intent. I called Alaric back, my voice low. She was after the will, wasn't she? He sighed, confirming she'd contacted his office 2 years ago, fishing for ways to tweak it. The Florida Bar Association noted a 15% spike in contested estates in 2023. My daughter was no outlier. Leora's journal went on, her fear clear. Cressida's greed would undo our family. She'd written, quoting Ronald Reagan, "There is no limit to the amount of good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit." Cressida cared too much about the spotlight. I flashed back to a dinner years ago, Cressida rolling her eyes at my old-school advice about earning your keep. Now it felt like a prelude to her schemes. Alaric texted a scanned document, a will draft Cressida tried pushing, her signature clumsy next to mine. AARP reports on elder law cases echoed in my mind. This was textbook manipulation. The forged POA from the hospital, the house sale, the logo theft. It all connected. I wanted to call her, demand answers, but hotlines advised evidence over outbursts. I'd build my case quietly. Closing the journal, I felt Leora's foresight like a weight. She'd seen this coming, her words urging me to protect what we'd built. Oprah Winfrey's advice resonated. Turn your wounds into wisdom. I wouldn't let pain cloud my strategy. Cressida thought me frail, but as a mogul who'd built empires in silence, I knew power didn't need a megaphone. Touching Leora's photo on the desk, I drew strength. She'd trusted me to stand firm. Alaric's next call was set. We'd dig deeper. This betrayal wasn't just a wound, it was the tipping point. No more playing nice. As night deepened, the Gulf's waves crashed like accusations. Alaric's email pinged, a scanned copy of Cressida's will attempt, her forged signature glaring. She's crossed the line, I muttered, and I'll draw the new one. Leora's final journal words urged protection, a spark for my next move. An unexpected email from a business associate waited, promising to pull me deeper into her web. The sun filtered through the blinds of my home office, casting slanted light across the desk where Leora's journal still sat, its pages heavy with warnings from years past. It was April 2025, and the Gulf's gentle waves outside my Naples beach house couldn't drown out the sting of Cressida's schemes. I opened my email, expecting routine updates, when a subject line stopped me cold. New contract approval. It was from one of Cressida's associates, a careless forward. Thomas Jefferson's words came to me. Honesty is the first chapter in the Book of Wisdom. Cressida had skipped that chapter entirely. The FDIC's recent reports on banking fraud echoed in my head, family trusts crumbling under greed. My heart gave a faint twinge, a post-surgery reminder, but my mind sharpened. I dialed Alaric, my old friend, to dig deeper. The email laid out a $40 million deal, Cressida's signature scrawled as CEO of Warrick Coastal Properties. The handwriting didn't match mine, just like the forged POA from my hospital days. I cross-checked company records on my laptop, confirming the contract was drafted while I was under anesthesia. The Florida Department of Elder Affairs had flagged rising POA abuses. My case was textbook. Alaric's voice crackled over the phone, calm but firm. She's playing a dangerous game, Samuel, he said, quoting Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Real change, enduring change, happens one step at a time. He urged me to gather evidence quietly, no outbursts. Attached to the email was Soren's investment plan, touting innovative strategies built on my assets, dismissing my old guard methods with a sneer. The arrogance made my blood boil. A memory surfaced, Leora cautioning me years ago about family finances, her voice soft but urgent. I pushed it aside and kept digging. Then, a knock at the door. A plain envelope, postmarked locally, no return address. Inside, an anonymous letter accused Cressida of long-term schemes, detailing dates and deals I hadn't yet uncovered. I called Alaric again, reading it aloud. He recognized some transactions, tying them to her will manipulations. This is dynamite, he said. The pieces clicked. Her ambition wasn't just bold. It was a calculated theft of everything I'd built. I drafted a stern email to her, warning of legal consequences, my fingers steady despite the fire inside. I leaned back, staring at the Gulf's endless waves, frustration bubbling but held in check. Winston Churchill's words steadied me. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. AARP surveys on boomer millennial inheritance fights came to mind. Generational gaps tearing families apart. I wasn't here to wallow. As a self-made mogul, silence was my strength, not surrender. I touched Leora's photo on the desk, her smile fueling my resolve. This warning email was step one, not a showdown. I'd learned from decades of deals. Timing was everything. Her deceptions were piling up, and my evidence was her undoing. I hit send on the warning, and minutes later my phone rang. Cressida. "Old man rambling again?" she mocked, her voice dripping with disdain. "You're embarrassing yourself." Her arrogance was a misstep, blind to the dossier I'd built. I hung up, noting her tone for the record. "She laughs now," I muttered, "but the real revelation waits." The Gulf's rhythm pulsed outside, matching my focus. Security camera footage from a contact was due any moment, promising more than I expected. Chapter 5. The evening twilight settled over my Naples beach house, the Gulf's soft hum outside my office window, a stark contrast to the fire in my veins. It was late April 2025, and Cressida's mocking voicemail from last night, calling my warning, "Old man rambling," still stung. Her arrogance was a mistake, blind to the evidence I'd been stacking. I settled into my office chair, the computer screen casting a pale glow. Albert Einstein's words hit home. The world is a dangerous place not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. I was done looking on. After her taunt, I'd installed remote access to the security system at her mansion, perfectly legal, as U.S. privacy laws allow owners to monitor their property. The AARP had pushed digital tools for seniors to fight back, and I was all in. An activity alert pinged, and I logged in, navigating feeds with a steady hand. Voices crackled through the first clip, pulling me into her world. The footage showed Cressida on a video call in her lavish study, Soren's face on her screen. "The beach house sale covered those gambling debts," she said, laughing. "Dad's so clueless he'll never figure it out." My jaw tightened, but I paused the video, noting the timestamp, January 2025, when I was in surgery. My medical records would prove I couldn't have agreed to anything. Then my phone buzzed, a forwarded message from Soren, likely sent by mistake. It outlined plans to sell more of my assets, his words smug. "We're moving past the old guard." He'd twisted Warren Buffett's line. "Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing." Their ignorance was my leverage. Digging deeper, I found their chat thread discussing altered company documents, every word a nail in their coffin. I switched tabs to Cressida's website, and there it was, my company's logo, warped into her own design. The U.S. Patent Office reported a 20% rise in trademark theft in 2024. This was no coincidence. I screenshotted everything, emailing the batch to Alaric for analysis, ensuring a clean chain of custody for court. A memory of Leora surfaced, her voice warning about financial traps, urging vigilance. The pieces fell into place. Cressida's desperation, fueled by debts, had turned my empire into her target. I leaned back, the Gulf's rhythm steadying me. Theodore Roosevelt's words echoed, "Believe you can and you're halfway there." I wasn't just believing, I was acting. Pew Research flagged millennial debt burdens driving entitlement, but I refused to be their victim. My years building Warrick Coastal Properties had honed instincts sharper than their schemes. Leora's wisdom on patience pulsed in my mind, keeping despair at bay. This wasn't about wallowing, it was about turning betrayal into advantage. As a senior, I'd faced worse and come out stronger. The evidence piling up was my power, not her taunts. I was ready for the next step. No direct clash yet, just calculated moves. Alaric's call came, confirming the file's weight, but it cut off as Cressida's number flashed again. Her voicemail dripped with scorn. "Give it up, Dad. You're out of your league." Her arrogance sealed her fate. My silence wouldn't last much longer. A package arrived at my door, its contents promising to shift everything. The package from an anonymous source sat unopened on my desk, its weight promising more evidence of Cressida's schemes. It was early May 2025, and the humid Naples evening pressed against my office windows, the Gulf's murmur urging action. Cressida's mocking voicemail from last week, calling my warning old man rambling, had lit a fire. I'd drafted a lawsuit letter outlining her forgeries and demanding restitution, sent via certified mail with tracking, as the U.S. Postal Service requires for legal notices. Abraham Lincoln's words steadied me. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. Cressida had abused hers. I called Alaric, my voice calm as we reviewed the letter's wording, citing Florida's statutes on elder exploitation. No outbursts. My boomer grit demanded measured justice. Her reply came faster than expected, a voicemail dripping with scorn, setting the stage for defiance. Her taunt pushed me to act. I drove to her press conference uninvited, the Naples venue buzzing with reporters and coastal elites. Cressida stood at a podium, announcing a company acquisition, her voice smooth as she claimed my empire. I raised a hand to question, but she cut me off, her smile sharp. A banner behind her credited her for a gala sponsorship funded by my beach house sale. Mark Twain's words hit hard. A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes. The crowd nodded, eating her narrative. My phone buzzed, Alaric texting that the banner violated my trademark, urging a cease and desist. The American Bar Association noted a spike in frivolous lawsuits in 2024. Her threatened countersuit was no surprise. I caught her eye post-event, stepping close. "You're treading on thin ice," I said quietly, but she waved me off, surrounded by her fawning crowd. Reporters lapped up her story, blind to the truth. I jotted notes, tying her lies to my dossier, forged contracts, stolen logos, and now this. Driving home, the Gulf's salty air cleared my head. Eleanor Roosevelt's wisdom anchored me. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. I wouldn't let her mockery shake me. Gallup polls on family asset fights came to mind. Generations clashing over wealth. Lyora's strength, her calm in adversity kept me steady. Decades in real estate had taught me precision. Her taunts only fueled my focus. I wasn't a victim. This defiance was my test, and I'd pass it. Back home, I opened the package. Inside, documents detailed more schemes. Fake deals, siphoned funds, all under my company's name. My heart raced, not from surgery, but the stakes. "The gala's her stage," I muttered, "but it'll be her undoing." An old associate's call came, offering testimony that could change everything. The humid May evening clung to me as I drove my pickup through Naples, the gala invitation tucked in my jacket. It was mid-May 2025, and Alaric's call about fresh testimony had set my mind racing. Cressida's schemes, her stolen logo, forged contracts, and that mocking voicemail had pushed me past patience. Sun Tzu's words sharpened my focus. All warfare is based on deception. I was ready to see through hers. Pulling up to the Naples Country Club, I handed my keys to the valet, luxury cars gleaming around me. The sponsored banners caught my eye, Cressida's name plastered across them. Inside, the ballroom sparkled with chandeliers, guests in tuxedos and gowns mingling. I stayed low, catching Cressida schmoozing reporters, her voice pitching her acquisition story. My strategy was clear. Watch her lies unfold, gather intel without tipping my hand. The media setup hummed, cameras poised for her big moment. Cressida took the stage, announcing a buyout of Warrick Coastal Properties, my company, with twisted facts that made reporters clap like trained seals. The FTC's 2024 guidelines on false advertising flashed in my mind. She was breaking every rule. A banner behind her boasted her gala sponsorship, funded by my beach house sale. Then Soren stepped up, grinning, and handed her a vintage car key, calling it a company perk. The crowd oohed, but my blood ran cold. That was my '67 Mustang, Leora's favorite for our Gulf Coast drives. Cressida spotted me in the crowd and smirked, dismissing me as a retired advisor to chuckles from the room. I gripped my phone, recording every word, adding to my dossier. During the QA, she dodged real questions, cherry-picking planted ones, crowing about her visionary leadership. I tried to speak, but her glare cut me off. Stepping aside, my pulse stayed even. Frederick Douglass's words anchored me. Power concedes nothing without a demand. The Census Bureau noted a cultural shift, elders sidelined in America, but I wasn't here to be pitied. Lyora's spirit, her strength in tough times, guided me. Decades cutting real estate deals had taught me patience wins. This wasn't surrender. It was strategy. As the event wound down, I cornered a reporter, dropping a hint about the real story behind her claims. Cressida caught me after, her voice low and venomous. "You'll regret this, Dad. I'll sue you into the ground." Her threat was hollow, my evidence ironclad. "Keep talking," I said, walking away. Her gala was unraveling, and Alaric's unexpected arrival with game-changing documents was about to change everything. The Naples Country Club pulsed with energy under glittering chandeliers. The late May 2025 air thick with perfume and ambition. Alaric's documents, slipped to me hours ago, burned in my pocket like a winning hand. Cressida's threat to bury me in lawsuits still rang in my ears from the last gala, but tonight I'd turn her stage against her. Rosa Parks' words fueled me. To bring about change, you must not be afraid to take the first step. My steps were deliberate now. Camera's word capturing Cressida basking in her role as host, her silk dress catching the light. I stood near the sound booth, my surgical scar a faint ache, but my resolve ironclad. Alaric's text confirmed the legal team was ready, my evidence airtight. Soren hovered at the edges, his fidgeting betraying unease. As Cressida launched into her speech, I readied my move. She stood at the podium, proclaiming she'd secured Warrick Coastal Properties, spinning a tale of her own genius. Her words trampled U.S. defraud laws, and the crowd ate it up. I signaled the booth, and the screens behind her flickered. A recording blared, her voice admitting to siphoning my assets for debts, followed by scans of forged contracts and my stolen logo. The room of 200 froze, murmurs rising. I stepped forward, quoting Martin Luther King Jr. "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Cressida's face drained as officers, tipped by Alaric, moved in, cuffs snapping on her wrists mid-sentence. Soren pushed through, eyes wide, and handed me the keys to my '67 Mustang, muttering, "I'm sorry, Samuel." I pocketed them, unmoved. His regret came too late. I faced the stunned guests. "I'm Samuel Warrick, the real owner," I said, voice clear. "This fraud ends now." The FBI's 2024 report on $1 billion in elder fraud losses backed my stand. Reporters surged, her weak protests lost in the chaos. Outside, the humid night wrapped around me. Nelson Mandela's words hit home. "It always seems impossible until it's done." ARP stats showed 70% of seniors beat exploitation. I'd joined them. Leora's memory steadied me, her courage in my veins. Soren's act didn't buy trust. It was a start, not redemption. This wasn't about gloating. Honor, not revenge, defined me. Family meant values, not blind loyalty. A journalist approached, hungry for details. I brushed him off, my gaze falling on Leora's seascape in my car, returned by Soren. It stirred relief and unresolved pain. The fight's done, I thought, but healing's just starting. The road ahead felt heavy with possibility. The Gulf's soft waves lapped outside my Naples beach house, a quiet contrast to the storm I'd unleashed at the gala. It was early June 2025, and I sat in my study, Leora's seascape painting back in my hands, returned by Soren's shaky gesture. Its vibrant blues steadied me, a reminder of her strength. Maya Angelou's words echoed. "You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them." The fight with Cressida was done, but healing was just starting. I hung the painting above my desk, its rightful place, restoring her presence. Local papers, like the Naples Daily News, buzzed with her arrest, elder fraud stories making headlines. My focus shifted, not vengeance, but rebuilding what mattered. Opening the mail, I spotted a letter from Cressida, postmarked from prison, its weight heavier than the paper. Her words spilled out, admitting regret for selling our beach house, for greed that blinded her. She begged forgiveness, but I paused, weighing her sincerity against years of lies. The Bureau of Justice noted only 10% of inmates show true remorse in fraud cases. Her letter felt like a start, not a guarantee. A knock at the door broke my thoughts. A local reporter, notepad ready, wanted the story behind her downfall. I shared just enough, my mogul status no longer hidden, but kept the core for myself. As he left, I secured Leora's painting, her wish for family unity echoing in my mind, though unity now meant something else. I called Alaric, his voice steady as we discussed her letter. Set boundaries, he said, citing AARP guidelines on reconciliation after betrayal. Neighbors stopped by, their support a nod to the tight-knit senior community here, a strength I'd underestimated. I drafted a response to Cressida, outlining strict terms for any future contact, accountability, not blind trust. The Gulf's breeze carried a calm I hadn't felt in months. John F. Kennedy's words hit home. Forgive your enemies, but never forget their names. Pew Research showed 30% of seniors face family estrangement. I wasn't alone, but I wasn't broken. Lyora's memory turned pain into purpose. Protecting her legacy honored her, not Cressida's plea. Decades building my empire had taught me endurance, now guiding emotional recovery. No anger drove me, only wisdom. Healing started with truth, but trust would take time. Gazing at her painting, I felt her strength, a quiet force pushing me forward. My phone pinged, a charity board invite, hinting at a new path to honor Leora. I sealed the letter to Cressida, my terms clear. Her remorse is a start, I thought, but my future is mine to shape. The board meeting loomed, promising a chance to carry her dream forward. The mid-June sun poured through the windows of Warrick Coastal Properties headquarters in Naples, Florida, the coastal view a reminder of what I'd fought to reclaim. It was 2025, and the charity board invite from last week still lingered in my mind, a chance to honor Leora's dream after Cressida's downfall. As I walked into the bustling office, staff greeted me with nods of respect, a far cry from the gala's chaos. Andrew Carnegie's words set the tone. Surplus wealth is a sacred trust which its possessor is bound to administer in his lifetime for the good of the community. Today, I'd rededicate a fund in Leora's name, turning betrayal into purpose. The boardroom was ready. Simple banners, no fanfare, just intent. Reporters gathered, their presence noted in IRS guidelines on charity funds post-fraud recovery. Weeks after Cressida's arrest, legal wins were piling up. I prepped my speech, focusing on lessons carved from pain, ready to unveil a plaque honoring Lyora's vision. In the boardroom, I announced the fund's rededication to elder protection, donating recovered assets to fight scams. The National Council on Aging pegged annual elder fraud losses at $36 billion. My story was one of many, but it would make a difference. Board members clapped, and Alaric handed me documents confirming I'd regained full control of my company. Reporters leaned in as I shared parts of the ordeal, stressing accountability over bitterness. A court update arrived. Cressida's judge ordered restitution, aligning with Florida precedents. I launched a new initiative, workshops to arm seniors against fraud, echoing Oprah Winfrey, "Turn your wounds into wisdom." A staffer approached, revealing she'd sent the anonymous letter exposing Cressida's schemes. I thanked her, promising a bonus for her integrity. The ceremony ended with a symbolic key handover to the fund manager, marking a fresh start. Stepping to the window, the Gulf's horizon stretched wide, and I felt a quiet accomplishment. Helen Keller's words resonated. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened. AARP's push for senior financial independence echoed my path. Betrayal had forged resilience, honoring Leora's vision. I had no regrets. Boundaries, not vengeance, protected my legacy. The rededication tied me to others facing similar fights, a community I hadn't fully seen before. This milestone closed one chapter, opening others with renewed vigor. A package arrived later, containing Cressida's restitution plan outline. I read it, noting her tentative remorse, but held back a response, weighing her words. Healing takes time, I thought. Perhaps redemption does too. A quiet evening brought another letter, stirring complex thoughts. The late June sunset painted the Gulf in hues of amber as I stepped onto my Naples beach house deck, Leora's journal in hand. The salty breeze carried a quiet calm, a far cry from the storm of Cressida's downfall and the charity fund's launch. Ralph Waldo Emerson's words settled in my mind. The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. After months of betrayal, I was choosing myself. I settled into a weathered chair, the fading light on the water mirroring life's shifts. Florida's coastal therapy programs for seniors touted the ocean's healing power. I felt it now. The absence of family calls, once a sting, now freed me. Opening Lyora's journal to unread pages, I sought her guidance to anchor my next steps, ready to let go of old weights. Her entries from her final days spoke of independence, written as cancer tightened its grip. "Find strength alone if you must," she urged, her words cutting through my recent battles. I saw now how Cressida's schemes had chained me, her greed a shadow on my growth. Psychology Today articles on boomer autonomy echoed this. Toxic ties stifle. I pulled out a notepad, drafting a personal manifesto. Integrity over inheritance, respect over blood. Benjamin Franklin's wisdom fit. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Boundaries were my cure now. At the local senior center, I shared my story, anonymized, with a support group. Their nods, faces etched with similar scars, built a quiet bond. A court update arrived. Cressida was complying with restitution, but I felt no pull to soften. Reviving an old hobby, I spent hours woodworking, crafting a frame for Leora's journal, its polished wood a symbol of self-reliance. An evening walk along the beach followed, where I tossed a stone into the waves, letting old regrets sink. Maya Angelou's voice rang clear. "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated." Harvard studies on senior well-being through independence backed my path. Freedom wasn't loneliness, but victory. Lyora's words felt like approval, her spirit lifting me. Family wasn't just blood, it was chosen respect. Shedding toxic ties unlocked my strength, a lesson hard-won but true. The journal's final page revealed Leora's hidden wish, a community project to empower others. As I pondered how to bring it to life, my phone buzzed with an unexpected offer, a chance to make it real. This ending opens new beginnings, I thought, the horizon glowing with possibility. Dawn broke over the Gulf, painting the Naples horizon in soft pinks as I stood on my beach house deck, Cressida's latest prison letter in hand. It was July 2025, and the serene waves contrasted the chaos of her betrayal, forged documents, stolen logos, a legacy nearly lost. Confucius's words lingered. "Before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves." I'd fought not for vengeance but for justice, and now it was time to close this chapter. Florida's restorative justice programs for families emphasized healing, but closure demanded clarity. Months after the gala's takedown, legal victories had secured my empire. I opened her letter again, her words of remorse thin against her deeds. My resolve hardened. This was about my future, not hers. I sat, pen ready, to craft a final reply, embodying the strength of a man who'd built and reclaimed his world. I wrote to Cressida, listing her unforgiven acts, the beach house sale, the fraud, the betrayal of Lyora's memory. I demanded full restitution and no contact until she proved change. Community service and elder protection, like AARP's volunteer programs, was non-negotiable. The Department of Justice noted 40% recidivism in fraud cases. I wasn't betting on her yet. I sent the letter via certified mail, tracking it for the record, ensuring legal finality. A court update confirmed her sentence, assets seized to repay what she'd taken. I placed her letter beside Leora's journal, their values worlds apart. A media call came, but I declined, quoting George Washington, "It is better to offer no excuse than a bad one." Her pleas didn't sway me. I locked my company files, a symbolic act securing my legacy for good. Watching the sunrise, I felt closure settle in. Viktor Frankl's words resonated. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Census data showed seniors embracing independence. I was living proof. Betrayal taught me strength lies in boundaries, not blind family ties. Lyora's pride seemed to shimmer in the light, her influence guiding my firm stance. No weakness marred my stand. Decisiveness honored my self-respect. Justice empowered me, leaving no room for regret. I walked the beach, tearing her letter and tossing the pieces into the waves, a final release. I updated my will, excluding Cressida unless she reformed, ensuring my charitable legacy endured. In the end, honor prevails, I said, my mantra for a life renewed in solitude. Stand firm against exploitation, I'd learned. Strength comes from within. The horizon stretched wide, my future mine to shape. Discover a gripping family drama story of betrayal and redemption. When my daughter sold my beloved beach house during my heart surgery, she thought she'd outsmarted me. Little did she know, I owned the real estate empire she exploited. Follow my journey from hospital bed to triumphant showdown, exposing her schemes and reclaiming my legacy. This emotional roller coaster of trust, deceit, and resilience will leave you inspired. Don't miss this powerful tale of justice for seniors. Subscribe for more heartfelt stories.